Welcome to the Gotham Outsiders, our better cut edition, where we talk about movies, TV shows, and all things Batman. Driving in on my pink car to pick up my co-host, I'm your host, Chris. And hopping in side seat, it's my co-host, TJ.
Hello, everyone. I am your Chris proclaimed Batman acolyte, and we have a very special guest here with us tonight.
We do, and luckily we have room for one more in our rosebud themed car because we have Ian Carlos Crawford, the host of Slayerfest and My Bloody Judy.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh my God, it's so glad to have you.
Yes, I'm a big fan of both of your shows. So, like, for years, I've been like, I want to be friends with this guy. So when you posted about Batman once, I was like, I got him.
Was it the long con? Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I can't stress enough what a good background rewatch Batman the Animated Series.
Oh my God, yes.
Was. Like, I hadn't, I'm old enough that I watched it when it was on, and like that and X-Men the Animated Series were like very much my shit.
Same.
So good. And I didn't know how it would, you never know. Like you can love something as a kid and then you watch it as an adult and you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, I need something because like I got a work from home job, and I was like something where it's not gonna like completely distract me, but like I can just have on. And I have two friends, Meredith Goldstein and Sarah Farazan, who they are like very big Batman fans, and they had done a rewatch during lockdown together. Like they just watched it on Zoom together. And they were always like, no, you cover Harley Quinn on your podcast, like you'll like it. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, sure. And fucking loved it. But I did get tweeting about Batman.
We know.
Some toxicness.
Like, oh wow, that's a good way to signal the wrong kind of people into your timeline, isn't it?
Someone tried to like tell me that I was like pro cop because I tweeted about like the one episode where there's like the crooked cop and he's like a vigilante and and I was like, no, I said that because that's what they call I'm not
literally
like that's what they refer like I'm not like
that's oof.
Oh, no.
Oh boy,
like boy. Such a leap too.
yeah
No, we've been there. Like that's part of this show is like we wanted to create this community for like queer fans of Batman and DC, so welcome.
Yeah, exactly. We wanted to be the non-toxic part of the fandom represented.
Wait, so I said that on an episode, like we started covering Marvel, right?
Right.
I forget which show it was, but I also am like, it's a queer community. I try to get like, unless it's like, someone from Buffy, then they could be straight. Sure.
Sure.
The top of it.
If they must.
Right. I said that. And the guy that was the guest was like, well, I hope it's okay that I'm straight. And I was like, yeah, of course. Like I was shit, I just assumed he was queer, but he is not.
It's so funny.
I assume everyone's I assume everyone's queer until proven otherwise at this point.
I think it's like a lot of the people we just want to talk to, we're like, oh, this person is so cool, like just happens to be queer. Yeah. So like, I don't want to say that's a problem we've ran into.
I think it's a delightful problem.
These straight people. But yeah, we've run into that. Straight people
secret
are welcome
straights. The secret straights that pop up.
We're very accepting. We don't
as long as the straights don't rub it in my face. No, I'm so kidding. As
long as they're keeping behind closed doors, that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as they're not teaching their kids about straightness, that's fine. Ban straight folks. Okay, I'm kidding.
Well, Ian, why don't you tell us a little bit about like you talked about how you just got into Batman the Animated Series, but like what has Batman been to you like throughout your life, if anything, and like how did you get into it for the first time? If you have like a favorite version.
The animated series is absolutely my favorite version.
So good.
What a good answer.
And like I don't know if you two are like this. If I'm watching something, especially if it's something I've already seen, I do like the most like deep dives on the internet you could possibly do. And it was actually cool reading about it because like I said, I watched it as a kid, but I didn't really, there was a couple things that I didn't realize the cartoon informed the comics.
Yes. Like Harley.
Like I thought it like Mr. Freeze. I didn't realize Nora Freeze was like for the cartoon. They like invented that. Because like, I'm older, but like I'm not that old. Where like for me, that was like the first big Batman, and I just assumed that that's like. But yeah, that was like cool learning that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that. Oh no, you said Snyder cut Justice League. The Justice League cartoon, I was reading about how they had like a Batman embargo and like they weren't allowed to use other characters, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, the animated series has always been, like I said, Batman and X-Men were like what got me into like nerd culture, probably.
Yeah, same.
And I do think it sounds corny, but they are really still like hold up as well written now, right?
They both do, absolutely. Yeah. Did you go down the Batman Beyond rabbit hole that we did?
I'm gonna do that next. That is my.
You should. Yeah. Oh God, Batman Beyond is wild. It was. If you like the deep dives, I have listened to all of the director's commentary on it, which is very fun. But one of my favorite notes about Batman Beyond was that they were making a show where a teen protagonist was part of it, and the network was like, "We love that. You'll make it lighter, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And then they produced the darkest. They're like, "Oh, we lied."
That I was thinking that, and I don't even mean like I feel like sometimes people say this and it sounds like in a shitty way. I don't mean it in a shitty way.
Yeah.
I don't think like a cartoon, like it feels like they wouldn't like people die and like I watched Master of the Phantasm. Actually, I rewatched that today.
Yeah, we watched it recently too.
It's good, and like
it's a good one.
At the end, when Joker and Batman have their fight, like Joker gets a tooth punched out and is like bleeding.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, like conservative moms would be up in arms about this shit.
Right. Well, I think it's hilarious that like for the show, they invented the Joker laughing gas because they thought him killing people was too violent. And the laughing gas is the scariest thing.
Way scarier.
Like I would rather die.
I would like specific. That was the thing I remembered most about the cartoon because I had nightmares about the like gas.
So scary! Oh
that
my
shit's
God!
Like a horror movie, right?
Like Smile that just came out lately. Oh my God! Yeah, I thought of the laughing gas that whole movie. Oh my God! Yes. Oh, you're our type of people, Ian.
Yeah. Listeners, if you haven't guessed it yet, we're talking about the Harley and Ivy episode for Batman the Animated Series.
Oh my God!
I guess we should just jump right into it.
Yeah, why not?
Like, Ian, what do you think? Like, you really wanted to talk about this episode, and I see why. So, give us your pitch on it.
So, I do want to. I brought something to read. So, in my deep dive, there's like the thing I do love about like fan culture is how like. There's so many sites that are literally just run by a fan. Like no one is actually like making money off, but it's like they just love the thing. So,
yeah.
I was like doing a deep dive on like the Batman animated wiki specifically, and
love it.
It has a write-up of like there was like a Harley Quinn page, and it was like her relationships, and it was like friends, and it lists Poison Ivy. Even the description for like friends sounds gay. And I'm gonna read it to you. It says,
Please.
Harley had a constant on-again, off-again friendship with Poison Ivy, whom she operated very well with. Poison Ivy has constantly had a soft spot for Harley, often declaring that Quinn has no need for the Joker. However, Harley never appeared to agree that Ivy was right and would often fixate over him. This, along with her flaky character, would often cause Ivy great bother, but never to the point that she would separate from Harley.
Oh my God.
Right? That sounds gay.
Sounds gay. This episode was gay.
Tell me you're gay without telling me
right?
You're gay.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, I didn't remember. It's been a while since I've done a full watch through, though you have started me on it because I literally finished the episode for tonight and then started from the beginning and have been watching. I love it. I love it. It's been so long. But I did not recall how gay this got. It's like, good Lord, I loved it.
And like, it's a shame that they didn't have like more of them together because like, that would be, I mean, I guess now we have the Harley Quinn animated series.
Yes.
But like,
right.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, because I logged on to HBO to watch this, and the big banner was like the Harley Ivy Valentine's special, which had just came out apparently. And I was like,
I'm doing a recording on it on Sunday.
Yeah, good for you.
I'm watching it as soon as we get off of here. I'm so excited.
I might too, honestly.
Honestly, fair. Let's all just go do it, actually.
That's what we'll do now.
New episode. Let's just watch
it. A surprise commentary.
Right. Truly, though, like my first note just because I wasn't taking notes. I was just too like zoned in. But as soon as the episode ended, I had to write down every thought I had. And my first note is just like, friends who ran around with no pants on together.
No pants ever.
No pants.
Never.
The shortest shirts that just barely what I would call television for kids appropriate. Just button-up shirts and nothing else.
And like it's weird, like I don't know if you'll agree, but like it feels like it's like sexy, but not like comic book dude sexy.
Yes, it's very right? Female gaze.
Yeah.
No, I know. I was like, this is sapphic. Something LGBT just happened to me.
Ian, I think when we first talked about this episode over text, you were comparing it as like a backdoor pilot to the Harley Quinn TV show. And I was like, oh yeah, like I can see that, even though I haven't seen it in probably at least 10 years. And then just watching it last night, I was like, no, really, this really feels like a backdoor pilot. Like it's the same basic premise.
Ian, I know we read it, TJ, but Ian, I don't know if you read, there was a Valentine's special like comic, I think last year, where it goes through, it's Harley and Ivy reflecting on their lives together when they're old and they're like, in the hospital, and it's so good. But she literally references the meeting in this show as really? She's like, do you remember that time we were doing a heist and I interrupted you? And like, I was like, oh my God, this is so sad.
That's so cute.
It's Harley and Ivy, the beginning. And it was in one of the Valentine's Day anthologies. And the girl who drew it drew a lot of the Buffy comic books. So if you're into that,
was it Rebecca Isaac?
Yeah, that's her. I love her art.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wait, that is by Rebecca Isaac on my wall, and it's signed by her.
Oh, beautiful.
That's amazing.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, your wall is beautiful.
It is. There's a lot of beautiful Buffy things happening behind Ian.
I'll send you a picture of my Buffy wall later.
Oh, yes, please do. I'm a 40-year-old adult with the wall of a 16-year-old.
Same. Mine just happens to be comic books. Yours are Buffy.
Yeah.
TJ has
there's our Buffy quota.
I was gonna say, wait, no, I have to say, TJ has the $1,000 Buffy statue.
Oh my God, you're embarrassing me now.
No, tell me which one. I'm excited. Which one is the super expensive one?
So we're cutting this, but this new toy store opened up near me, and there was some statue that I saw when I was 13, 15 years ago, and I really wanted it, but I couldn't buy it because I had no money because I was 13. So now it's doubled in price, but I impulse bought it because I was like, I want it so bad. And it's her on a throne.
Oh, the one of her sitting with the knife and the red dress?
Yes.
I love that. I don't have that, but it is
so good.
Cool. Yeah.
It's the centerpiece in my office in my library office now. Yeah.
And that thing's big, right?
It's pretty normal.
Okay.
But it's very, very heavy. She is dense. I don't know. I guess she's pretty big.
She's a thick girl. It's pretty big.
You're making me blush. Stop it.
I thought it was cute.
No judgment. Are you kidding? I still covet that fucking scythe that they put out. And I'm always
the big one?
Yeah. I'm like, if only
I wanted that too. That was the same era. I was like, I want that so bad. And now they're $1,000 if you can even find it.
My horror podcast co-host Zach, his husband Alistair has it. He got it back in the day.
So mad about it.
And I'm always mad. I want to visit you both so I can hold it. I just want to touch it.
That's incredible.
I get it. You're speaking my language. Okay.
Back to Batman.
Not a Buffy one. No, you're good.
It was a relevant tie-in.
I have a question for you both.
Okay.
What version of Ivy do you prefer? Her more human appearing one, or her one where she's green and a little bit less human-ish?
I think I generally prefer her a little less human, but there's a gradient because I'm thinking the Long Halloween is a little too not human, where she's literally becoming a bush. Where she's got some hedges to trim.
Because she always has some bush, but that was extreme.
Yeah, it was got a little out of hand.
Yeah.
But that's too much. But the middle Harley Quinn show one where she is a little less human looking, but still fairly human, I like a lot.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that. Yeah, I agree. It's funny because when they You know how the anime series, like the last 2 seasons are like the redesign? I remember like I hated that as like when I was a teen.
Mm-hmm.
And then like when Harley Quinn came out, it like the cartoon kind of like softened me to like, okay, I do like her with green skin.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
She looks so, I was really shocked by how normal she looked at this. I was like, oh,
right. Yeah.
I forgot.
Vanilla.
Yeah. Not
as a kid, Ivy was my favorite. And I thought she was, as a kid, I thought she was invented for the cartoon because I had never heard of her before.
Fair.
And I used to have like above my TV, I don't know if either of you are old enough or remember there used to be like a Warner Brothers store that would sell like a lot of, I bought like the stupidest, it was like basically like a poster in a frame, but to me it was like a like animation cell, but it was like a poster in a frame and it was of Poison Ivy like pointing her arrow at Batman and like he made some vines and I thought it was so cool.
That's amazing.
That is cool.
Yeah.
No, I've never been to a WB store like out in the wild, but I did the WB tour in LA recently and I they had one there. So
they did because they're not like in malls anymore. I think they all like closed.
Yeah, it's like the Disney store.
Yeah.
That's such a bummer. I loved that store.
So I have another question.
Yeah, for it.
This is what my notes are. I'm like, I'm gonna ask them their opinion on things.
Oh, I love it. My notes were just like, this is gay. This is also gay.
That's like mixed in. So at the beginning of the episode, Harley gives Joker the wrong gun when he's trying to kill Batman. Mm-hmm. Do you think that was intentional? Like she was trying to not kill him? Like, because I feel like she's not as bad as Joker, but
she's not as bad, but also like she knows Joker's not going to kill him.
Yeah,
but it's also he didn't threaten to kill him. He threatened to flatten his tires. To be clear, he later says, "I would have killed him," but we're like, okay. Sure, Joker. You've had so many chances. You love that man.
I was like, speaking of gay, like,
right?
I feel like the thing I always relate to Harley is I feel like she's just always anxious.
Yeah.
And like,
I think so
it's like, I think it's more like, I'm panicking, just pick up whatever the closest weapon is.
Right.
That's fair.
And if we were to talk about like surprisingly deep cartoons for children, this episode between Harley and Joker specifically is one of the best depictions of like intimate partner violence I think I've ever seen, and it's a children's cartoon.
Yeah,
but it was really menacing. Like when he pushes her against the wall and has his hands around her, I was like, oh, I feel cold. Like, you know, as a kid, I don't know that it hit me that hard, but as an adult, I was like, oh my God, like that is intimidating. And there was a lot of like the way he treated her and talked to her that's very classic, like cycle of abuse stuff. And I was like, for kids.
You know, and the thing that sticks out to me about that is like we see it glorified in like some of the DC movies, but here it doesn't try to be like, oh look, abuse. No, he's terrible, and we're showing you he's terrible.
He's terrible, and that, you know, a girl will come into her life later and be like, you don't have to accept this. And I was like, this is why this was such a good show. But I think it's also why it's so lasting for all of us, because I mean, I at least was watching this at like 5, you know, very young, but then kept watching it as I grew up. And this stuff informed how I view the world. Like, and it's a good one. Like, that's a good thing to inform your world with. Like, watch out for men like Joker.
You know, I know I keep bringing up X-Men too, but so I
go for it. I love X-Men.
On Slayerfest, I did like a summer of X-Men one summer where I did like some animated series episodes and then some like most of the movies. And I ended it with having the showrunners from the animated series on. And I kind of asked them about that because I was like, I'm surprised how progressive you were allowed to do it. And they kind of said like, Fox just didn't care. They were like, well, it's popular. Sure. And like,
it has no executives are watching this vibe.
Yeah, like they didn't even know it was popular till the second year.
That's wild.
And they went to visit the office for some reason, and they said there was like a stack of fan mail, like all lined against the wall. And they were like, "Oh, that's for you." And they were like, "What?" Yeah,
incredible.
And like that's probably what it was with Batman too. Like you said, no executives watching it; they just don't give a shit. They're like, "Yeah, it does well, whatever."
Yeah. But it's very cool that they were doing this kind of stuff back then. And, you know, I think we've talked about this on other episodes too. Like, this show is very empathetic toward its villains in a way that you don't get very often. Yeah. Like, you know, it holds them accountable, but it also is like, no, this makes sense. Like, you watching this episode and you're like, no, I get it. You know what I mean?
You know,
yeah, but they're like, fuck men. Men suck. Like, I'm like, you're right. Blow up their
Their car. Fair.
I mean, I said this earlier. I finished watching Master of the Phantasm earlier.
Yeah.
There's a bit where they like make a joke about Batman being unhinged. Like, I forget. Batman's talking about Phantasm, thinks she's a guy, and I forget what he said, but he's like, "Oh, vengeance, drove him nuts." And Alfred's like, "Good thing that didn't happen to you. Here are your bombs, and here's your batarang." And it's like, they're making fun of that Batman.
I know. I know. Alfred is straight up savage, and I love it. He's amazing. He really does. I was just talking to TJ before you hopped on, because again, I literally started the show over from the beginning. And I was like, this Batman has informed which comics I like about Batman now, because he is a petty little bitch in this show. That's my favorite. When he's like that in the comics, I'm like, that's my Batman.
My gosh, the line in this episode when Alfred's like, "Are you looking for a weekend date, sir?" It was so funny. That got me.
Yeah, genuinely, was that like villain wiki feet? Because there was some like modeling photos of the two of them. Like, what the hell? Like, it went mugshot. Okay, that's probably a crime scene shot. And then there was just like this one where Art Ivy's like,
it's their OnlyFans.
It's their OnlyFans account. Oh my god!
I live in Gotham. I'm sure that rent's expensive.
Sure. Dropping all the time with that level of crime, though.
True. Yeah.
When they drive off after blowing up the car and Batman comes out and he's like, I guess he finds the dirt off their wheel and he's looking at it because it's evidence. And I'm watching it with my husband and I look at him and I go, lesbians. Anyway, that's all I could think about.
That's so funny. I do like how he was like really detecting in this, because sometimes people forget that about Batman, even though that's literally his whole deal. But I was like, look, he's doing detecting things. I mean, he didn't do very well, but he did it.
I don't care, but sometimes the detective stuff is just like a little bit nonsense, right?
Yeah.
It's like, sure. Like you said with the tires, it's like,
right.
What is he getting out of that? But sure.
Yeah. Toxic waste, apparently. That Ivy drives all over the city. This feels like a much bigger problem than the crime spree.
It also feels like counterproductive to like what her goal is. Like, she wouldn't want to put toxic waste.
Why does she live in a toxic wasteland? What is happening? Also, I did love that Batman's like, they're untraceable, and then it almost immediately cuts them driving into a suburban house with their bright pink car. And I was like,
you're like, why does she live there? I'm like, it's a metaphor, Hazel Grace.
Also,
it is.
Can we talk about that scene though? Because the scene of them blowing up the men is like, for me, that is like very much like a scene I thought about as a kid a lot. Like, I love it.
Really?
Yeah,
please. I mean, I see why.
Tell us more. I love it.
I like, for me, that was like, I mean, now I've watched it twice, so I'm like, oh no, I remember that's that. But like, that was like the main point of the episode for me, was like, they're blowing up men in cars, but like that only happens once.
Like, yeah, but it kind of becomes a thing. I love that it's like for Poison Ivy's idea of therapy for Harley is just to attack like male-centric, misogynistic places. She's like, well, they just find this like, I guess, Moose Lodge, basically, and they're like, what if
the fuck that is?
Adventure club of like all very old men. And she walks in and she's like, hi, I will shock you because I am a woman, and now I'm gonna attack you because you were rude. I was like, I love it.
Girl,
get him. I was like, get him, girl, get him.
It's fair. That Lucille Bluth, like, good for her.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, it's so true. I loved it.
No, I agree. I think that was my favorite scene in the episode, them blowing up the car.
Yeah,
like,
it was fair.
The dialogue was just really clever, and like, it just can't be enough that I was like, oh my god, this is so good. Pigs, here's the paddle, and then the timing of, like, pulling out the shot and you see the explosion.
Yes.
Amazing. I was ready for the Chicago they had it coming to just start playing.
I do.
That would make it better.
I was gonna say that's like my favorite line is when she's like, here's the paddle, and it's a big fucking bazooka. Like,
amazing. Absolutely,
it just escalates so quickly.
Because the thing the cartoon does well, which Harley Quinn did too, like we already like got past this in Harley Quinn though.
Yeah.
I feel like is show that like she is anxious, she is a little codependent, but like when she needs to pick it up and be a badass, she can. She'll not a bazooka, right? Like
100%.
I was surprised, like, Joker comes for her at the end, and she's relieved and happy to see him, but then she ends up running off with Ivy and, like,
well, I think it was
has
because
her back.
The switch happens, right? Like, she's like, he's come for me, and he didn't. He came to steal stuff from her. So I think she had that moment of like, oh, I was wrong, and then runs off with Ivy.
I just, like, admired her for that.
I do too.
Oh, good for you.
Cute. It was cute.
I will say, going through the cartoon, the only thing that does bother me about that is that we have a couple episodes like that, but then it's like we start from the beginning. Next time we see her, she's back with Joker. I wish there would have been like, but again, it's a kid's cartoon from the 90s, so
but yeah, you want to see her. You want to see her get out of there. Like it. Unfortunately, it makes it more realistic that she has an on and off again thing with the abusive guy, right? Like, unfortunately, but you want to be able to have that catharsis of like, okay, this is the time, which I think is why I like the Birds of Prey movie so much, where she blows up the, abandoned amusement park and is just like, fuck you, Joker. And I'm like, yes, that was the redemption we needed after watching the animated series as a kid.
And like it's so wild to think that Harley was so well formed as like a character they just like invented as a throwaway character for an episode. Yeah,
I'm obsessed with the fact that like half of the lesbians in Gotham were invented by this show, because it was like her, Renee Montoya. Like, they're just
she was invented for the cartoon too, right?
Yeah. The fact that it's her chasing them this entire episode.
Can we talk about the Lord of the Rings moment of no man can catch us, and Renee Montoya being like, I am no man?
Yes. That made me laugh so hard.
Exactly.
Not even that she gets them. It's funny to me that they let her get them. And if it had been some dude, they would have like
no, they were like
pretty bad.
They were like they were lost in the color of her eyes briefly.
Yeah. I was like, we respect you. Yes, you can take us in, fellow woman.
Yeah. We're like, you can only imagine how awful it is to be a woman in Gotham City Police Department. We'll let you take us in.
We'll make this one easy for you.
Yeah, like it must suck. You are literally the one woman that works there.
You want to go to the one Gotham lesbian bar after this tonight? Come on.
Before you turn us into Arkham, we gonna hit the bar?
There's this scene where Ivy throws the plant at Batman and like the plants start getting him. I'm sure this is in multiple episodes, but I was laying there with my husband and I'm like, there's got to be fan art of Batman, Poison Ivy, and tentacles. There just is.
I knew as soon as you started bringing that up, I was like, you're going to talk about hentai on this here podcast.
I
didn't use that word.
Listen,
you implied it.
Even if that scene didn't happen, I would still assume there is.
There had to be. There has to be, right?
There's probably not like a character that doesn't have like art.
Hentai art.
Like,
yeah, the rule 34, right?
Yeah.
Oh God, it's so good.
I liked when they were like, so the fact that they kind of overpower Batman and almost get him, Ivy and Harley, I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I love that for them. But the line where he's like, man or woman, a sick mind, just capable of anything.
And they're like, you're so progressive or something like that in response. I was dying.
I feel like baby me probably thought like, oh fuck yeah, that's so cool, but like
Right.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like it's Arrested Development where they make a joke about that, where they're like, serial killers can be women too. Like, this is feminism.
I also really do, not that I like him, but like this is also my favorite Joker.
Yeah,
because I think Mark Hamill does such a good job, and I like that they don't try to be like, oh, you love him. Oh, they're like, no, he's unhinged and an asshole and abusive.
Yeah,
and like I don't know, for me, I just appreciate that more, right? Don't try to pretend he's not, and then if you like.
Yeah. For example, don't make an entire movie about how he just has a mental illness that makes him laugh a lot and pretend like it's gonna make us like him. For example, I mean, totally random example there.
I have that in my notes as well, Chris. Like at the very end, let's go to the end briefly.
Wait a second, Ian was about to say something related to this.
Sorry.
Though.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, someone once got mad at me for tweeting about. I mean, of course, someone did, but. I was like, oh, that's the definitive straight person superhero nonsense. And someone was like, that's why your Patreon doesn't do well, because you're negative. And I was like,
okay, buddy. At least that's better. I literally tweeted, if you like the Joker movie, never talk to me again.
Oh my God.
This is how I weed people out now.
Hey.
And guess what? My life is only improved.
So like I also have something like that in my notes, Chris. And like so at the end of the episode where he's like, no more women, never again. And you know, in his crew, not, you know, I wish he was saying that in multiple ways. But
I don't know. We don't know.
I find it funny that Joker is like representing all the straight men who were say things like, gosh, bro, women are crazy.
Yeah, I got broken up with one bitch and now I hate them all.
Yeah. And like, I was like, is this why he's become an icon for the average, like, cis straight white man? Or maybe from his movie?
The accuracy hurts. Oh my God. Lots to unpack there. Yeah.
I feel like, sorry, go ahead, Ian.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I also do like the thing about Ivy and Harley is it's almost like Ivy kind of likes her right away. And Harley takes a minute to more warm up to her.
Yeah.
But Ivy's not like, you know, I don't know. I don't know if this makes sense, but like
the
way Ivy treats her right away, Ivy's very like, okay.
Yeah.
This is like, it's almost like she sees her as just like, oh, another woman who needs her help, right?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, come live with me. Here's this shot. And, you know, Harley's like, oh, I hate needles.
Yeah.
You know, and then even makes like the reference about like, oh, you'd think I'd be used to pain because I date Joker. And
yeah, I
love that Poison Ivy is like, you know, she's not like, I mean, like that description I read you, she's kind of like very like, hey, you shouldn't be with him, but she doesn't like, push it. She doesn't like, she's being like that good friend that's like, yeah, that's not good for you, but I'm not like, you know,
absolutely,
you know, and I like
she respects her autonomy, and that's what Harley has never had. Yeah, right. As somebody, I also love, even in your description there, you're kind of pointing out they are like the classic sunshine grumpy duo. Like they are they're the blueprint, because Ivy is definitely a I hate everyone but you character. Yes.
It makes sense that I love Poison Ivy so much, as those are the men I go for.
There you go.
I'll be like, they're mean, but they're not mean to me.
Ivy was your blueprint, huh?
The blueprint. One of my favorite lines in the episode, like, I don't even know if it's that good of a line. I guess it is, but it got me because I wasn't expecting it. Where they're sitting in the kitchen, I think, and Ivy's like, when are you going to be done with that clown? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so funny because he is literally a clown.
Like, it's not a dig.
Like, that's actually who he is.
It's so simple, but so effective.
Oh my God. Also, you know, speaking as we were earlier of Joker's queer coding, I love that this ends with Batman, like, princess carrying him out of an explosion.
Yeah.
He's like curled up in his car, like every Hurt Comfort fan fiction I've ever read.
I love that. I love during their fight that Batman's like, you're gonna like stop shooting, it's gonna explode, and then Joker goes, oopsie, when it does explode.
Yeah, and then Batman rescues him. It's like, you are.
Yeah. I was like, why do you keep saving him? I understand you can't kill him, but why do you save him?
The Jason Todd, and you just leapt out and you're like, let him die.
Honestly, I was like, this is why Jason gets pissed off and murders people. Just let him burn.
That dumbass blew his own self up and you saved him.
I do. A thing that I tweeted this. I don't know if you two like. I'm like almost always on Catwoman's side.
Yes,
this cartoon.
Oh my God, yes.
And I tweeted this clip, and I've been thinking about it since I watched that episode. It makes me laugh, where Batgirl and Catwoman have to team up, and Batgirl says to her, she's like dangling a man over like a vat of gas or whatever, and Batgirl's like, if you let him go, you're no better than him. And Catwoman says, oh, grow up, and lets him go. It's so good. I mean, that girl like dies and saves him, but like I love
oh my god
cartoon. They had Catwoman be like, "Oh, give me a break." Like,
yeah I really like that. I've been rewatching it, so I just watched the like 2-part Catwoman, her first episode. I love that they like lean into her as like an environmental activist, like Ivy is and Catwoman is, and they're both just like, you know what? We don't care about people. We're trying to save this planet, whether you like it or not.
I really do like. I appreciate that they were like wrote them. I don't know, like Poison Ivy and Catwoman are like fun to watch, and they just like don't give a shit, right?
They
like,
don't. Did anyone else catch that Harley had drawn a very bad effort of drawing Catwoman on the fridge?
No, I didn't see that.
But they had that fridge, which, by the way, so cute. Ivy was hanging all of their like accomplishments from the newspaper, and then she hangs it beside a picture that Harley drew of Catwoman, which is so good. It's literally just a stick figure with little ears. It says Catwoman.
The anti-Batman pin.
The anti-Batman pin was very cute too. There was a lot of like subtle details in here that I was really appreciating.
Yeah. Another thing that I like about Poison Ivy is I love when Joker sprays her with the acid and she like pretends for a second, and then I was like, oh, that doesn't affect me, and just like kicks him across the room.
Right. And then she takes down both of his big muscly goons.
They were funny.
Those goons were funny. I cackled when Joker was like, shut up, Rocco.
Yeah, that's the part I'm thinking of. That got me.
It's funny because like, you know, that's how Harley Quinn was invented, just to be like a one-off goon. But they do, you're right, they do a good job with the goons. Because there's also Poison Ivy has, I think it's early on, an episode where she has like 2 ladies in like blue leotards that have like acid guns. And they have like rhymey names or something, but it's like, and they have personalities, like they're like
delightful.
Yeah,
I love it. One of my favorite things that the fandom has created is this idea that there is actually only like 10 goons in all of Gotham, and they all rotate around the villains like they're gig workers on Fiverr.
Again, you got to pay rent in Gotham.
You know, who's working for Riddler today? Oh, you've got Riddler. Okay, I'll go with Bane.
I feel like I was just reading something that took that premise. It might have been like a webtoon or something.
Probably.
Did either of you ever read? And I don't read a lot of DC, but the Brian is it Azzarello Joker comic where it's like centered around a goon?
I haven't, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's great. I really like that. And I think it's like, I don't think it's in, because, you know, DC has like a zillion like alternate whatevers. I think it's not the main. Yeah. But it's like centered around like a goon who's hired by Joker. Yeah. And, like, his like perception of working with Joker. And it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I see it all the time. The cover looks like real grimy, right?
Yeah.
It's not the One Bad Day one, is it?
No.
Okay. I'll find it and read it.
You'll recognize it.
Oh, okay.
It's been around a while.
Because that Joker art's like vaguely like Heath Ledger-y. Like, like, looks a little bit like that.
Very fun. So
and I feel like you probably love Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy.
Okay, wait. So
yes,
I have hot takes about because I should. You're right. I should.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Tell me everything.
I don't like Batman and Robin. Batman Forever, but the one I will defend. I think
me too. I love Batman Forever.
Balances really well the like camp, funny, and then like Batman shit.
Yeah,
I think Batman and Robin doesn't balance it. It's like too much.
Yeah, like it's a lot.
It feels like more cartoony than Batman the Animated Series was.
For sure.
Is a lot of it George Clooney, be honest, because for me it's a lot George Clooney.
I mean, I wouldn't want to give him all the credit because I feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger as well. Like
yes. Yeah.
He's like he's like barely delivering lines in this like giant suit. Like
yeah, I don't know. I just feel like George Clooney is my least favorite Batman of all of the Batman that exists because he just doesn't even try. It's like he doesn't care. And now he hates it, right? So
he's like just George Clooney in those movies. And he had said how much he hated doing them. Yeah.
And I was like,
well, Uma Thurman, though.
Uma Thurman actually like understood the assignment, which I do like about her.
I do feel like in a better movie, I would have appreciated the character more because she's like fun. Yeah.
But Batman Forever is so great.
You're good friends with Adam Sass, right?
Yes. I was gonna bring up Adam Sachs.
I was gonna say we brought him on to talk about that.
Was it Batman and Robin, right?
Yeah, and we were like raving about Uma Thurman. So I thought you could join in on the love fest.
We need to have you both on and let you fight it out.
Yeah.
Uma Thurman or not to Uma Thurman.
Because once I forget what recording it was, but he did go on his he was like, people were homophobic about Batman and Robin, and that's why he didn't like it. And I was like, well, actually, I didn't like it.
No doubt people were homophobic about it, but that doesn't mean there was nothing wrong with it. Yeah. Again, George Clooney. No, I like Batman and Robin. I just really don't like George Clooney in that movie.
We just did Batman Returns for Christmas as our holiday episode.
Oh, I love it. We did that one too.
That's
fun. Was so fun.
We tried, but we never did it.
Did we never do it?
Oh, really?
I have no memory. We'll cut all this out, but the surprise details of Chris's life is I don't remember what episodes we've recorded. TJ one time was like, you remember when we read this book? And I was like, we never read that book. And he's like, there's a record of it. We read that book.
So I never realized how bad my memory was till I started having to plan my horror podcast with someone else. And he'll be like, how do you not remember? We just talked about this. I'm like, I'm sure we did. I don't know. I have a selective memory. Like, do I remember all of our first episodes? Yeah, but are there random ones in the middle that I have deleted? Yes. And they were all by Frank Miller.
Did you buy your Scream tickets yet, Ian?
Yes, I did.
Good.
Okay.
I'm excited
for that.
My heart. I feel like I have nothing to talk about but my podcast, so I always end up bringing up my podcast.
No, stop! I love it.
But yeah, Zach and his husband are flying into New York, and I'm going up, and we're going to see it in New York together.
So rad.
That's so cute.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
Oh my god, I'm looking forward to doing a deep dive into your podcast. Like I just started listening to it, and oh my god, I love horror podcasts so much.
Do you think Gail's going to die? That's my biggest concern.
I hope not. I'm gonna be real upset if Gail dies. Like I was
cry.
I was already ready to riot over Dewey.
I'm in the middle about it. Like if she goes and it's a good death, I won't be mad about it.
TJ is very pro characters dying, though. To be clear,
I love a good death, but I love Gail and I don't want her to leave. But I saw she's an executive producer on the movie, so I'm like, okay, I guess she could stay on as an executive producer, even if they kill her off, so she can be involved.
And apparently she's done a bunch of interviews that she's ready to die in those movies, and I'm like, are you good?
That's what makes me nervous.
Yeah. My answer is if Neve Campbell will come back for the next one, I'll allow Gail to be killed. But
you'll allow it.
I'll allow it, as if they know. But
if we have a choice.
I've had a couple of friends say that they're like, I just realistically, if they don't know if they're getting Neve Campbell back, why would they kill?
I agree.
Yeah.
I just don't think they should, because honestly, even more than Neve Campbell, I feel like Gail is the series. I don't know. It's just something about her.
I said this on Twitter, and of course everyone's like, oh, but who? And I'm like, no, but by straight people, because I feel like Gail gets forgotten as a final girl.
Yeah,
but
I agree. Yes,
queer people love.
Yeah, all the gays are like Gail.
But
the only one who can't die for me is Kirby. And
really?
I don't know. I'm kind of worried, but I'm like, why would you go through all the effort?
Rude. I feel like I don't want either of them.
For
someone who likes horror movies and loves slashers, I'm don't kill them. Just have.
That's me too. No, that's me too. I love horror movies, but please don't kill anybody.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, don't kill Kirby.
A baby.
Kill everyone else but Kirby. That's where I'm at. Okay, I'm sorry to derail the conversation.
No, I love it. This was delightful. So do anyone any big thoughts of stuff we haven't hit on in the episode yet for either one of you?
Wait, no, it is. I mean, this is going to lead into the thing I'm going to have about changing the episode.
That's what I'm getting there.
But it is wild that it's Harley and Ivy, but it's really Harley, right?
Yeah.
It's really her episode.
Yeah.
Because Poison Ivy doesn't come in until 15 minutes into the episode.
Yeah.
I looked at the timestamp and I was like, Jesus. And I both like and don't like that, because I do like that it's reminding us how bad her relationship with Joker is, right?
Right.
So that we get her going out and teaming up with Ivy. But also I could use more Poison Ivy.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fair.
Well, with that beautiful transition, how could we make this a better cut? What would we do to make this different? Ian, I'm guessing more Ivy.
I'm sorry.
No, I legitimately was about to. You perfectly set up my segue that I was going for. It was you volleyed. I did the thing that you do after a volley. I'm not sporty, but So Ian, what would you change?
Yeah, I think I would have like, I do think you need the like Joker breakup kind of thing, or like her. I guess they don't really break up per se. It's like she goes out and then she meets Ivy, but I think I would condense that to more like maybe 8 minutes or something like that, and that way Ivy can come in and it can be more their episode than just. I mean, I love Harley, so it's not like I'm like mad.
Right.
It's more her episode, but I love Ivy so much that I would have had her come in earlier. Would be like, and I think they're just like, you know, more fun shit like them blowing up stupid men who are catcalling them, and like that's like really fun.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I love a strong woman with a bazooka.
Me too. I think if I changed it, I mean, this almost becomes a totally different episode though, and I do really love this episode, but the only thing I think would have been fun is like that ending where Renee is the one that captures them. It would be kind of fun if the arc was Renee chasing them. Like we see her, but really it's, you know, Batman's chasing them, and he's kind of minor in it. But it would be kind of fun if Batman took a back seat in this episode, because he does in other episodes. It's not like they're afraid to do that. And have Renee be the main like person chasing them, to give this like a full, just like, it's the ladies' night. Like,
all right.
I agree with both of those.
I want to combine my answer and your answer.
Do it. So we have less Joker, less Batman. There are no men except the ones we blow up.
More women. I think you'll like my answer. So I love both of your changes. I take those too. But I think it's pretty solid episodes. Like I wouldn't change much. But I think so we end up at the prison at the end. I feel like we should have gone a little bit more Orange is the New Black. You know, let's show them being a little more intimate.
Yeah, I kind of think we do get that though, because Ivy has Harley working in the garden, which is clearly not a Harley thing to do.
That's true.
And she's very much like with Ivy and not hanging out with Joker in the prison. And I was like, I see you. But I would like if we leaned in like, even more.
I'm thinking like explicit.
TJ's change is to make it not a child show.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm going with this.
Yes, I like it.
Show her going down on her.
I was gonna say, when I'm Joker blows Batman, Ivy goes down on Harley. That's
perfect.
See, now it's the better cut.
It is the better. We made it better.
I think I've read that fan fiction. So.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And after that, Batman goes and takes care of Catwoman's pussy. You know, we're good.
Yeah.
I meant the cat. What do you mean?
Batman eats pussy.
Yes, he does.
Wait, did both of you watch the newest Harley Quinn season?
I haven't finished it yet. Are you caught, TJ?
Because there is they make like a nod to that.
I love it.
They did.
I hope we never recover from that day on Twitter when we were all making fun of Batman.
So funny.
I also can't imagine like what would make you say Batman doesn't like, why would you like?
I know, because like if I gave them more credit, I would be like, maybe they knew it would spark like literally days of them talking about Batman, but I don't think that's true. I think they just said something offhand and then were like, oh shit.
Who said this? I forget.
I don't remember.
God, I like literally that part of the story is gone. It wasn't like
people are screaming at us.
It was like it wasn't a writer or anything, right? It was like an executive or something. It was somebody who really had no business saying anything about it. That was just like, I swear it was like someone at DC higher up.
Yeah. I think it was like a rule where like they couldn't show him being sexual with someone.
But then somebody specifically was like, you know, Batman doesn't do that.
Okay, I found
that's right. That's right. Okay.
Yes.
Batman doesn't do that.
But it's from Justin Halpern, who's like the co-creator of the cartoon. He doesn't explicitly say who. He just says, a perfect example of that is in the 3rd season of Harley, when we had a moment where Batman was going down on Catwoman and DC was like, you can't do that. You absolutely cannot do that. They're like, heroes don't do that. So
that's right.
Are you saying heroes are selfish lovers? And they were like, no, it's that we sell consumer toys for heroes. It's hard to sell a toy if Batman is going down on someone.
So it was just DC. I know, right? This is the blowjob.
Yeah. See, that day was so vivid for so long, and now it's been long enough that I only remember.
But we literally never stop referencing it on this show. It might as well be the like origin of the show at this point.
Ian, thank you. Oh no, please go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to. I feel like I stepped on your toes again. Jesus Christ.
No, you actually, you're so perfect. You've been the best.
You are perfect.
Yeah.
Now I will come back on all the time.
Yeah, exactly. We did it. Friendship achieved.
I genuinely don't remember what I was going to say now. So.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, I always feel bad because I'm like, all right, it seems like we're lingering. Let me try to transition. And then someone will try to say something. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Please say what you want to say.
We're all just too people pleasy at this moment. We're like, no, you go. No, you go next.
Being anxious and queer is fun.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Being anxious and queer, which is a synonym, I swear.
Yeah.
Well, Ian, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything you want to plug or tell our listeners where to find you online?
Yeah. My Buffy / Marvel / I cover Harley Quinn for my Patreon podcast is Slayerfest 98. We're on all social media platforms at Slayerfest X98. And you can find us on all podcasting platforms. And my horror podcast is at My Bloody Judy on all social platforms. And you can find us on everywhere you get podcasts.
Yes, check them out. They are both so good.
Yes. And please literally come on a million more times. This was an absolute blast.
I had a lot of fun too.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. Literally anytime.
Yeah.
The end.
Thank you for listening to the Gotham Outsiders. You can find me, Chris, on Twitter at The Myth of Psyche, where I talk about feminism, psychology, and Batman, of course. But you can also find me on my new show at Thirsty on Tune over on the Talking Comics feed, where Bronwyn and I review webtoons and drink wine and also review romance novels. You can also find me writing reviews at talkingcomics.com, and I am now accepting consulting clients. So if you need someone to do sensitivity reading or consult on psychology or queer identity, I'm your person. You can also find my co-host TJ
at Troyfin2 on Twitter, where I talk about books, gay things, gay books, and all sorts of things, including Batman pretty often, way more than I used to. And I recently became an official librarian, so you can find all sorts of book reviews that I post just for fun, a lot of advanced reviews of books that haven't come out yet. So if you're looking for a nice gay read, please hit me up. You could also find me talking on other podcasts just here and there if you search my name on any podcast service provider that you listen to.
And you can find us both talking about Batman all the time at the Gotham Outsiders. So join us next time. Same bat time, same bat place.